Do you have the app on your phone?
What? Do we have the app on the phone? Yes, we do. We are live. Hey, Carlo here from Fitness Marketer, and I'm here with Jeff Sherman. How's it going today?
I'm good, thanks.
Awesome. So listen, a lot of people want to know who you are, and I got to tell you that I was honored when you asked me to do this live with you today because, and I mean this sincerely, I feel that I know you probably better than most because we come from the same town. You're now out in California trying to get me out here. That's another story. We're not going to talk about that right now. But anyway, Jeff and I both come from the same town in Maryland, and how we met was actually that my wife was an attendee of his boot camp. And some of the things that most people don't know is how generous Jeff is, and that's actually how we got to meet, was because I kept showing up at Starbucks, picking his brain on marketing stuff. I mean, I just would not leave you alone. I'm just like, you know, hey, what's going on? I'm like, hey, you know, I got a question about this. I got a question about that. How do I do this? How do I do that? And every single time, you were more than generous, and you always answered questions. But the thing that I want to share with everyone before I get to some of the questions that'll add some value, because you know some of the things that we're going to get to are really going to help the listeners. But one of the things is that you had this amazing boot camp, but you were never in it. You were never in the boot camp, and I was just like blown away. I'm just like, all of these other business owners always tell me about how they have no time, they're stressed out all the time, they're sitting there. I mean, they look like they just went 10 rounds with Tyson. And every time I ask you, I'm like, hey, Jeff, I'm like, do you have a few minutes to get together? You're like, yeah. I'm like, what? I'm like, literally, this is no BS. I think in the 4 years that I worked with you, I saw you in your gym twice, and one time was to pick up steaks that were overnighted to you from Bedros. And that was it. And I'm just like, what did you do? How did you build this successful business that you don't even need to be in? Because you started out. So, I mean, let's get to it. I mean, you know, let's start from the beginning. You know, not when you were born. We don't have to go back that far. But when did you, well, yeah, exactly. When did you start? You know, how did you get into, you know, to be a personal trainer?
So I was in the Air Force, and I had a job as an aircraft mechanic, which I hated. And luckily, my first sergeant was the coach of our base soccer team, and he got me an extra duty assignment as being a personal trainer. So I would work half the time as the aircraft mechanic for like 4 hours, and half the time in the base gym. And my job was to get people that were overweight or out of regulations that couldn't get promoted or were on the verge of getting, you know, kicked out, back in shape or back within regulations. That's how I got started. I also worked part-time for a friend of mine who had a personal training studio when I was stationed. And I was in Air National Guard at the time, and I used the Air National Guard, the Montgomery GI Bill, and they used that money to open up my first personal training studio.
Nice. So this is the $1 million question. Is great. A lot of people that are probably watching and that are fans of your page, they're already personal trainers, so they got that far. So how did you make the leap? How did you go from personal trainer into your own boot camp?
Well, before the boot camp, I had a one-on-one studio, and you know, it did okay. Like, really, the only reason I started the business because I wanted a place where I could train my clients the way that I wanted to, and charge what I wanted, and do things my own way. So I wasn't really a business person at the time, and my business model was to get my other trainer friends to pay me like a flat fee, pretty much just subleasing from me to train their clients out of there as well, which paid for my overhead, and I just got to keep all the money for my own clients. It was a great job. I made decent money, but it wasn't scalable at all, and you know, it was all dependent on me being there. Since I was in Air National Guard and I got deployed for 2 years, I wasn't able to train my clients, so how was I going to make money? And that's actually how I met Bedros. Is I searched for a solution where I would be able to still train my clients, you know, from the Middle East, and I found his software, High Tech Trainer. But anyway, from then I started following Bedros, and then when I got back, I started doing like small group trainings. I like pushing the equipment to the side, training like 2, 3, 4 people at a time, turn into 5, 6, 7. Then I went to Fitness Business Summit and signed up with Fit Body Boot Camp, and closed out my one-on-one studio like 3 months after I opened the boot camp, and just wanted to leverage my time that way, which was great because now I was making the same amount of money as I was with one-on-one training with like 6 other trainers out of my studio, all stepping on each other's toes and getting each other's way, to just me working 2 hours a day making the same amount of money. Like, wow, I was really able to leverage my time, but it still wasn't, you know, a real business. So I was in I was subleased from a gymnastics center, and in the beginning, and we used the gymnastics center before they opened. So we had like a 5:30 in the morning and like a 6:30 and a 9, and they started usually around 10. So like 2 or 3 hours a day, you know, I had 50 clients. It was doing really, really well. After being in the gymnastics center for a year, I did an in-house promotion where I did paid in fulls for a year, like a really good offer for my clients, and used that money to open up my own boot camp studio.
Nice. Okay, so that's how you got in there, and now let's really get to it. Was what I talked about at the very beginning was the fact that, okay, yeah, you went from, that's how you went from personal trainer to getting in and having your own boot camp. But then once you had your own boot camp, what kind of system? I mean, they call you like the automation master for a reason. I mean, what did you do so that you're not there? I mean, because the other thing that was amazing was that I even met with your assistant, who Allison, who ran the whole show for you. I mean, she was amazing. So it's like you have a knack for finding good talent and for putting in systems. So, what did you do? I mean, I know that we only have a few minutes left, but...
Yeah, so I guess then when I worked, at Bally's or whatnot, and so you really need to leverage, the actual business and build your business, without you instead of around you. Up until that point, everything was around me. I was the face of the, of the business, the leader, and kind of just started with just hiring, first just, a part-time assistant. It was actually one of my members who was there for a while, and she had some bad luck with her job, couldn't afford it anymore. So I just offered her, 4 hours a day of making phone calls and making my, scheduling appointments for me, and in exchange for boot camp. Mm-hmm. And that's how I got started. Like, oh, okay, wow. Not only did it save me hours a day of making phone calls, which I hated, but it also, my conversion rates went up because now people looked at me as like more of an authority rather than me setting my own appointments and stuff. So I started there, and then I hired, a trainer to help out with some of the sessions. And then once my daughter was born, going on 6 years ago now, is when I really started implementing, systems. And you don't want to micromanage. So you want to put everything into, a manual or a video, some kind of training series. But then you also want to have ways that you can micro monitor, so that way all the numbers coming in. So I could tell like how many leads we were getting a month, how many of those we were getting into a trial membership, how many of those we were converting to a full paying member, how many people were canceling. So I could just look at the numbers and monitor and know whether they're doing their job or not. And if I saw a hole, in any of those numbers, I knew exactly what the problem would be. I would just call a meeting, go in and update, the manual, fix whatever they were doing wrong, retrain them, and then look at the numbers again. So you want to create systems that to do the work, and you're still standing there when you could be doing it yourself. So,
right.
Once I figured that out, everything, started coming into place and working really smoothly.
Right. So another question: at what point? And this might seem like a silly question, but I think it's a very important one. Is at what point should a business owner start thinking automation right away? Because some people that I talk to, they're just like, well, hey, I can't even think about automation yet because I have a lead problem. So what's your suggestion for that?
Yeah, I mean, so most people start their business, and then it's like word of mouth, and if you're a good trainer, word of mouth for that first year can give you a good foundation, just because you're getting people great results. It's a great experience. You're likable. But after that year, you kind of reach what we call like your soft market, of people that you've gone to school with, or people that you used to work with, or relatives, or whoever. And then you really have to start marketing. But then at that point, they hit that plateau, and their problem at that point is leads. So they don't have the money to hire other people. So you want to figure out, how to get leads, and that's why we created our agency.
Right.
And we've solved that problem for hundreds and hundreds of trainers. And once you figure out that leads is never the problem, like there's more than enough people out there,
right,
and you know how to generate the leads, and they start coming in. They start coming in fast. It gets people start freaking out. Like we have ads clients that'll quit because we get them too many leads, right?
Right.
And
That's right.
so that's when you need system, is when you have all these people coming in and you're not able to meet with them all one-on-one. So that's why we started teaching the group close, or you're not able to call up and follow up with them. So your onboarding system has holes in it because people are coming in, they sit down with you, they sign up, and then you never talk to them again. 3 weeks later, 21-day rapid fat loss is over and they're gone.
Right.
They're not coming back. So, and you're trying to manage all this. You're working late hours, all that stuff, and you start your income's going up, your lifestyle is going down. And that's when you're ready, to start implementing systems, start, what I call like buying your time back, spending the money that you have coming in order to hire somebody that's just as good, if not better than you at that one specific task, and training them and letting them do it.
Gotcha. Now I know that you have people that come from all over the country. Sometimes, as far as Canada, that come and they work with you for one day. They fly in to Chino Hills and they can work with you. A lot of people obviously can't afford that. I think it's like, between $5,000 to $10,000, depending on how much they want you to do. What about people that may not be able to afford that, but want to come and learn how to do it? Are you going to do anything? Everything's so lead generated, but it sounds like people need the automation side, but it's not for everybody. But for the people that it is for, two questions. Number one, you know, how would you identify them? Like, is it a certain amount of leads that they're getting? Hey, well, if you're getting this and then you're having a problem, you'd be perfect for us. And then if it is, how can you help more than just one person at a time?
Yeah. Yeah, so I've actually been thinking about this, and if there is enough interest, I probably would put together like a workshop, kind of like the implementation boot camp, but for automating your business. But the way that you know it is that you're on the verge of getting burnt out.
Okay.
Most people, when they're hungry and need money and they need leads, it's because they're not working so hard and not getting leads. They don't know what to do with their time.
Right. Okay.
But once you start figuring out how to get leads, like we were talking about in our other Facebook Live, how you're getting out there and doing the offline marketing and networking, and you're meeting people of influence, and you have the Facebook ads running, and you're constantly getting emails, constantly selling trial memberships, and you have all that down, and you have all the people coming in, and you're working like 5 in the morning, not getting home till like 9 or 10 at night, and you're just like, oh, I got to do this again. But your bank account's going up, but your stress levels are going up, but your lifestyle is going down. That's the person that I would create that program for.
That's a really good point what you just brought up, because I have never, and actually, because a lot of times when you say stuff, the light bulb goes off. But when you just said, when I talk to people, most of the time, if they don't have a lot of leads, it's not because they're just exhausted. They might be frustrated, but they're not like, oh my God, I'm fried. They're fried when they don't know how to handle everything that's coming in, or the people aren't getting, or their staff isn't getting back to people quickly enough. So that's huge. Well, anyway, as always, really great information. And is there anywhere where people can get more information, or to just express some interest? Because obviously, you're not going to take your time to put something together unless there's an interest out there for it.
Yeah, right here on the fan page. That's if creating like a fitness business automation workshop is something that would interest you. You can leave a comment right below this video. I'll be sending out some emails in the next few weeks to see if there's any interest. But one of my first products for trainers, it was called Bootcamp Underground. It was all about systems, and I launched that back in 2011 with great success. And it's evolved over the years, so we have a lot of new content, a lot of new stuff. But that would be pretty much it.
Nice, very nice. All right, well, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please comment below.
Talk to you later.